Hello everyone, or no one, and welcome to Delvo Gaming. I'm a bad gamer, and I played God of War Ragnarok. I found this. God of War from 2018 was a cool fucking game. God of War Ragnarok is a good fucking game. I recently played God of War Ragnarok, the sequel to the 2018 God of War. Usually I avoid comparing games because they should each stand on their own, otherwise discussions become repetitive. But with sequels, especially those continuing the same story years later, comparisons are hard to avoid. That said, I'll put it this way. This game immediately feels like a God of War title. The gameplay and combat are instantly familiar from the 2018 game, improved on, yet recognizable. The visuals are just as stunning, and the game draws you in right away with a seamless start and no loading screens. It's just as unique as the 2018 game, and that's where some issues lies. I believe Ragnarok is a better game than its predecessor. It features more bosses, a larger world, and more activities. The story is engaging and has several high points, but somehow it's less memorable than the 2018 game. The original stood out for its combat and delivered intense, testosterone-driven, hairy-chested action with a rugged, tough vibe that felt cooler and more badass. While this sequel maintains that level of badass actions, but it no longer feels unique. It's just as good, but less unique, and therefore less memorable, because you have experienced it before. The story also takes a different direction. Whereas the first game was grittier and tougher, in this one, Daddy Kratos is more in touch with his emotions and embarks on a more emotional journey. I think that's great and well done, but it makes the game less memorable. It's more about impressive moments. When the cutscenes, music and everything else comes together, it's truly amazing. Interestingly, one issue with Ragnarok is Atreus, which also was the issue of the predecessor. Instead of an annoying child, you have an annoying teenager that you get to play. He can kick some serious ass and is fun to control, but it feels off that I have to do these things because he's being difficult. And I end up doing the bad moves for him. Even though it can be quite enjoyable to play, it still feels wrong, because the reason I have to play him is because he makes stupid decisions. However, credits to the game for eventually letting Atreus step back, allowing you to enjoy the fantastic endgame content without him, with the much more pleasantly supporter Freya by your side. Speaking about endgame content, this game is huge. The story is similar in length to the previous game, but the activities available after finishing the story are extensive. You can explore all realms with plenty of quests, treasures, bosses, and other things to do beyond the main storyline. I'm pretty sure I spent over 20 hours just in Vanaheim alone. I'll admit I got lost about half the time because that place is a multi-level maze, but it's packed with quests, bosses, dragons, and fun challenges. Then you have the Surtur challenges, which is just some badass fighting, and you get another Valkyrie Queen, who is a tough opponent. You also encounter these green fallen king enemies, and when you defeat all of them, you face their king, who has all the abilities of the previous ones, similar to the Valkyrie Queen from the previous game, but more bosses just means more fun. You also have the Valhalla mode after you have finished the main story questline. I believe it's a DLC or something like that, but it's a mode outside of the main game where you enter Valhalla and you just beat stuff up. You have limited resources and health, and when you die, you have to restart. You do get some currencies that you use to upgrade yourself for the next attempt. As you progress into Valhalla and defeat different challenges, you get skills that drops, so you make a new build each playthrough. At the end, you get to fight Tyr. You can do this many times, and as you defeat Tyr at the end, he gets more difficult to defeat or he changes his tactics or something. I didn't go balls deep into this mode, but if you like the combat in God of War, this mode is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this game. It's bigger, it has more bosses and more reasons to keep playing. I like the story and how it builds up to the Ragnarok event. When you reach the final chapters and Ragnarok begins, I had to pause and take in everything happening around me. It's an incredible moment. Plus, you get to fight Odin multiple times, which are fantastic battles. One complaint I had about the predecessor was that sometimes it felt like watching a movie rather than playing a game, with too many moments during combat where you just press a button and something cool happens. I'm not a fan of that because it takes control away from the player. This game has some of those moments too, but I don't see them as a problem. The cutscenes make more sense story-wise and there are fewer of them during combat. Now they mainly serve to finish off enemies rather than being a big part of the fight. The only new complaint I have for this game is that when you defeat the new Valkyrie Queen in Ragnarok, you are not the one who actually delivers the final blow. That felt really disappointing after so many hours trying to defeat her, and I was quite upset not to get the satisfaction of finishing her off. The games are similar but different. God of War from 2018 was a cool fucking game, and God of War Ragnarok is a good fucking game. Having played both, it's been an incredible gaming experience. Ragnarok gave me a lot more fun than the previous one because there are so much more to do, and doing those things feels fantastic. On the Delo gaming scale, I'm giving God of War Ragnarok a solid 8 out of 10. I will now, as always, leave you with the wise words of wisdom from the Steam reviews, and I bid you farewell. Very much enjoyed the game, but it sent my GPU to Valhalla. Literally caught on fire mid-play. Luckily, despite Flames Mobile survived and got a GPU lent and enabled PC being turned on again. Ah yes, the Sad Dad Simulator, 10 out of 10, can relate. This game really makes you feel like a single but responsible and loving father. God of War Ragnarok is basically Kratos' journey through Norse mythology while surviving the real endgame, parenting a moody teenager. I cried together with this big man. Ragnarok isn't just a game, it's a masterclass in pain, parenting and punching gods until feelings happen. 1 minute you're screaming, "Let's go!" The next you're sobbing because Kratos said one kind word. The story hits harder than the Leviathan axe on Recall. And the soundtrack made me ascend emotionally and spiritually. Also, I punched a literal god into therapy. P.S. Atreus made me cry again. P.P.S. Freya deserves better. P.P.P.S. I whispered boy into the void. Bought it for the god killing, stayed for the parenting lessons. 10 out of 10 would defy prophecy again. Bigger and better than before, although it suffers a bit from pacing issues. All in all, it's a great single-player experience. This game is an amazing continuation of the God of War story and franchise with excellent writing, gameplay and visuals. I've been playing games since 1987. I played thousands of games, and I must say this and previous God of War game has been by miles the best games ever made.